Oh, was he ready for this? I mean, you know how it works. Now, Jim Nantz every year at the NCAA men's basketball championship, at the very end, he doesn't say what he wants to say. What he really wants to say with his final call is, enough of this, hell with this, see you in Augusta later this week. And then his plane is over Atlanta in like 45 minutes from the time that his earphones go down. He's done.
He slept in Augusta last
night. Done with it,
yep.
Right. But here's his real final call.
First of the year from three. And maybe Love off the dribble. We know he's capable. 4 seconds. Create something to get a three.
And Brown on Manek, and here we go. Manek circling around. He slipped underneath. They go to Love. Love's going to be the one to take it. Puts up the shot. It's off. The game is over. And Kansas completes the biggest championship comeback all time.
Thanks, Nance. You know, he wanted so bad for Manek to hit a shot at the buzzer and call it a Manek Monday. So bad he was rooting for. Nonetheless, UNC gives it away. They fritter it away. They were up 16 at one time. Kansas down 15 at the half, and they battle back. I don't know how the most valuable player, or most whatever the hell it's called,
most
the mop.
Outstanding.
Yeah, the mop. It went to the wrong guy. Nonetheless, Kansas wins, and they win a championship. UNC frittered it away. But I've thought about this and thought about it long and hard as I was driving in this morning. But you got two winners. And I don't want to sound all like everybody gets a participation trophy or anything like that. When you look at this tournament, and here's at least what I'll do. This feels like, at least to me, like the 1972 NFL playoffs. So you get 20 years removed from it. That title for Kansas is great. People are bonkers in Topeka and in all these wild places. They're wild this morning, right? But it's like the Immaculate Reception in 1972. In 20 years from now, just as many people will remember UNC beating Duke in the semifinals as Kansas winning the title. Just as many people remember 72 for Franco Harris as the Dolphins winning the title. I honestly think you got two winners out of this tournament.
I think it's a fair point. I think especially because you've got the largest comeback in championship game history, it'll be remembered for that as much as for the tournament will be remembered for that, and the Final Four remembered for that as much as it will be for UNC beating Duke in Krzyzewski's final game. I think it's a really good point. And I think, look, this tournament ended up being, I don't want to say exactly what you want because I don't know how many people listening to us right now are Kansas basketball fans. And ultimately, if your team didn't win, is it necessarily what you want? But as a neutral college basketball fan going into this tournament, it had pretty much everything, right? You had the double-digit seeds running to the Sweet 16. You had the Cinderella and St. Peter's getting within a hair of the Final Four. You had the great rivalry show up in the Final Four in arguably the greatest coach of all times, or at least the greatest coach of the last 50 years, his final game. And then you have a great game in the national championship game. So it didn't end up being, like we talked about yesterday, anticlimactic at all. It actually ended up being just as good a game as Saturday night.
Yeah.
So it had a little bit of everything. You end up having chalk at the end with a 1 seed winning over an 8 seed, but the possibility of what would have been the lowest seed ever winning had North Carolina pulled it out. It had everything the last 3 weeks.
It had a ton. And by the way, it's 6:07. Good morning to you. Good time for an insurance checkup by the Buell Insurance Agency. And after the game, it had this certified jackwagon who just continues to get everything wrong. And I have no idea how this man is in charge of the NCAA. And by the way, listen for the first hour of the show. I can almost guarantee that Boomer Esiason will take this man apart at some point during our show. But anyway, Mark Emmert, who's in charge of the NCAA, this goof, this to me was one of the highlights of the night. Listen to how he introduces the Kansas Jayhawks.
Fan base has been extraordinary. We're so excited for you. And here to present the trophy is the head of the basketball committee, Tom Burnett, to Coach Self and the Kansas City Jayhawks, the University of Kansas Jayhawks.
Whoops. I mean, how in the world? Talk about a vote of no confidence. If this goof can't even get the name of the team right. What an embarrassment for this guy. It's funny as can be because it's him, but my gosh. I mean, what do you even say?
You got one job.
I know.
Classic, you got one job.
I know. Oh, so there's that. So we got to get into that this morning as well. But then our local guy, and he got hot. He had like 11 points. Puff Johnson did, as Matt labeled it Cam Johnson puking on the audio because he got the brothers mixed up, producer Matt did. But Puff Johnson got hit in the stomach, right? And he goes down, and there's a trail, the phlegm trail. And, man, did I feel bad for this kid from Moon. So here's the audio from that.
He's coughing up.
Yeah.
Not sure what that is, but he's definitely coughing down there.
Thanks.
Thanks,
He
Grant.
definitely was. I appreciate it.
Not sure what that is.
Right.
It's exiting his mouth via his stomach.
And he got hot, and that was with about 4.5 minutes left. He couldn't come in until there was under a minute left. Puff Johnson showed himself out in this tournament, showed himself out in that game. I felt bad for him, but I was thinking about this too. I bet the last time that I threw up that was not the result of alcohol, I was probably 12 years old.
That's a good question.
I know. When was the last time you threw up that was not the result of alcohol?
Not the result of alcohol. I think
I was like 12 years old.
I want to say I had a stomach bug a few years ago, which I'm not a. Is thrower upper a thing?
Vomiter.
I'm not a vomiter.
Vomiter. Yes.
Rarely, if ever, and even alcohol related. So there's probably been like once in the last 5-10 years I've had like a stomach bug that made me sick, but that's it. Other than your occasional alcohol related boot.
Yeah, the alcohol. Outside of alcohol, I can't call it. I can't. Again, probably 12, 13 years old. So I felt awful for him laying there in the middle of the floor. He's got this phlegm trail coming out of his mouth. And the announcers aren't even trying to hide it like, oh, man, he's winded. Or, oh, yeah, this is a tough moment for him. Grant just calls him out and says, oh, yeah.
It looks like he's yakking on the court.
And that was a big, heavy Duke moment for Grant Hill. It was. He needed to feel that. That was a Duke
just the
twist.
way the Tar Heels have yacked all over themselves in this
he-
second half. Look at Puff Johnson throwing up, vomiting all over the
He
court.
had to do that. And by the way, text us about everything. Edgar Snyder and Associates fan text line 412-928-9370. Edgar Snyder and Associates reminds you to text responsibly. Lastly, about the NCAA championship. So I was listening a little bit yesterday to the afternoon show, and Mueller said that One Shining Moment is an awful song. Okay. Now, I wrote a story about One Shining Moment for the Post-Gazette in 2007. I went back and looked at it. Here's the deal. You can go ahead and have that take. I don't think it's a good one. It just is. I don't think it's a great song. I think the take's a bad take, though. And I'll tell you why.
Okay.
If it wasn't for One Shining Moment, and here's how it all came to be. Armin Katayan, I called. And I know Armin a little bit, and he has a friend, this guy David Barrett, who wrote this song. He was kind of commissioned this song, and it all came together, and they put it together, and it was a weird clashing of circumstances with CBS. If it wasn't for One Shining Moment, though, we would be stuck with one of those old standby ESPN jock jams sort of, we are the champions or something like that. I love One Shining Moment, not because it's a great song, and it might not even be a good song, but because here's what it is. It is a song independent of everything else, and it is a song that is just built for that time frame. And you never hear it any other time. Nobody plays it at their wedding, I don't think.
No.
Nobody plays it in July. You hear it one time a year, and so it hits, and it works. So I will not be here for any One Shining Moment hate.
Look, I like the montage, the end of tournament montage. I like. At this point in my life, I've grown accustomed to it being with One Shining Moment. The only saving grace of that song is Luther. That's it. Because
would you rather hear "We Are the Champions" or something like? I just go back to this. What would be the options?
I'll tell you. I'll give an example, and I think I want to say NBC used to do this like at the end of the Stanley Cup playoffs. I'm sure other networks do it for their properties too when they reach the end of the season. Right? They put together a montage of the entire year, but it's to I don't know whatever song. Like
exactly. That's my whole point. It's to whatever song.
Yeah.
We know this song. We know it's for a special moment. We hear the first couple bars of it, and it makes us pay attention. And it's only once a year. We think of in 1996 when Pete Carrill is celebrating, or in 98 when Bryce Drew is going nuts and belly flopped against Ole Miss after he made that shot, or Hakeem Warwick when he blocks that shot.
But does the song here's the question. Does the song make the montage better?
Yes, because it starts with the ball is tipped, and you know you get that scripted moment. The song absolutely makes the montage.
Okay.
And you're running for your life, and they always show a man
somebody running.
Yes, and then you're a shooting star. It shows in slow motion someone elevating up off the ground, real high in a jumper and hitting it. Or someone that's an underdog, like in St. Peter's case. And so the song, they've made it a way to fit that moment and fit that tournament.
Oh, there's a template, no doubt. There's a template to it. It's rare I agree with. I'm proud to agree with Muller on something, but I will agree in this much. The song doesn't add anything to the montage for me. I love the montage for the montage. You could play Old MacDonald underneath it, and I'd still be focused on the montage and all the great moments.
See, that's where I couldn't disagree more. I think the words and the words to the song fit the montage perfectly. So if it was "We Are the Champions" or whatever song that you wanted to play, it wouldn't fit the script of the montage. They have found a way to make the highlights fit the words to that song. They couldn't do that with every other song.
No, you could. Well, no. Some songs, I mean, you can like retrofit some of the lyrics to the whatever highlights you're showing. But I don't know. I don't need the song. Like, I stayed up and watched the game. I didn't stay up for one shining moment. I was like, okay, game's over, going to sleep now. I didn't have to see one shining moment. I won't seek out one shining moment later today for the song. If I seek it out, it will be to see the montage of clips. I can watch it. You know how you'll watch stuff on your phone on mute all the time because you don't want the volume on and bothering everybody else in the room or wherever you may be? I could sit there and watch the one shining moment montage today on my phone on mute and feel like I didn't miss a thing.
I have to watch it. I'll watch it 5 times, and I'll almost cry every single time. Sometimes there'll even be a tear. Honestly.
Just a slow little roller out the corner of the eye.
It is one of the greatest couple moments of sports Americana that we have left in this country, is one shining moment. I really feel that way. It ranks up there with the handshake line in the end of the Stanley Cup series, of all the Stanley Cup playoff series. It ranks up there with that. It ranks up there with there's a couple different things, but that is, if you put a list of things that are great about sports in this country, the one shining moment montage, it's like top 10 for me. It really is. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Of traditions, of things that we do all the time. Absolutely. I love it. All right, lots to get into.